Following podcast contains bizarre theories, strange facts, and some out-of-this-world opinions. Listener discretion is advised, especially if you trust the government.
Conspiracy. Conspiracy.
Welcome back, conspiracy lovers, to another episode of Conspiracy, the show where no story is too strange, no theory too far-fetched, and no one is safe from our deep dives into the unknown. I'm Ash, your host, your guide into the world of conspiracies, and occasional devil's advocate. So I just wanted to take a beat and say, if you are listening to this episode on its release date, we have officially entered 2025, so Happy New Year, guys. We made it. Another year older, definitely not wiser, but I hope you all had a great Christmas or festive break, and you've also made your list of New Year's resolutions. So whether that be knitting, taking up yoga, questioning everything the government says, it's a pretty good resolution. Try not to give up on that one at the end of Jan though. But before we dive into today's episode, as you can tell by the title of the episode, it's about Project Bluebeam. Can we just talk about how mental 2024 was for the conspiracy world? But I actually don't even want to call it the conspiracy world anymore. It's the truth world, and it's just they're all coming true, and it's bizarre, and nobody knows what to do with themselves. But we've had UFO whistleblowers everywhere, classified leaks popping up, and then, as we all know, at the end of the year, we had drones flying everywhere in December 2024. What the hell was that? That is mental. So I thought, what better timing to do an episode on Project Bluebeam. I know that this theory is surrounding these drone sightings so much. Every comment I'm reading, everywhere I go online, everyone's talking about, it's Project Bluebeam, it's Project Bluebeam. So I just wanted to dive in today into what exactly Project Bluebeam is, how that could be connected to the recent drone sightings, and further out as well. But yeah, like December felt like a Black Mirror episode. Correct me if I'm wrong, we entered season 6 of Black Mirror in December 2024. Like, there was drones here, drones there, drones bloody everywhere worldwide. It's literally like, if it is aliens, which I'm not saying it is, but if it is, it's like they're on a world tour and we've all been invited, we've all got front row seats, tickets to it, you know. And it's one of those rare occasions where it's not just taking place in USA, it's not just taking place in America, it's taking place all over the world. There's some here in England, there's ones in Japan, all across Asia, down in South America. I know South America is a pretty big hub for UFO sightings in general anyway, but these drones are popping up all over kind of military bases and all the rest of it. But anyway, I'm going to dive into that later in the episode. So let's kick off the year right, diving into Project Bluebeam. And spoiler alert, this one's an absolute corker, so get comfy, pour yourself a cuppa or a glass of wine if you're not too hungover, and let's unravel the madness together. So what in the name of David Icke is Project Bluebeam? Well, this widely discussed conspiracy comes courtesy of Sergei Monast, a Canadian journalist from the 90s. Sadly though, Sergei did pass away under what some might call suspicious circumstances. They said he died of a heart attack, but no prior health issues. Could it be coincidence? Could he have had the COVID jab before everyone else? But anyway, according to Sergei, NASA and the United Nations have been cooking up a sneaky plan to establish a new world order. So we briefly discussed a new world order in the previous episode about Black Rock. So if you haven't listened to that, you can go back and listen to that now. And I'm not going to dive into too much information about New World Order again, but essentially it's a global elite idea of one world government to, reshape the world and control us and all the rest of it. I'm also doing an episode on that later down the line, so if you can wait for that one, that would be awesome. But anyway, according to Project Bluebeam, the plan is to use a mix of high-tech smoke and mirrors, of course, and the goal is to fake a global spiritual awakening and a massive alien invasion. Honestly, to hear it out loud, it does sound like a mashup of The X-Files and the Bible. But stay with me because it does get wilder. So apparently there are 4 stages to the madness. Right, so stage 1 is earthquakes or natural disasters. And as you can see around the world, we've been having all of these natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes, seismic activity. It's all been brewing. I'd say we are past stage 1 of 4 stages. Stage 2 is a global light show in the sky. So like holograms of aliens, holograms of religious figures. So like maybe the reincarnation of Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, the lot. Maybe they're all going to be fighting in the sky. I don't know, but kind of seems a bit like Avengers Endgame, but for gods. And yeah, so I think maybe, what happened in December could potentially be stage two with the drone sightings. They're getting ready to project something in the sky. And then you've got stage three, which is telepathic messages being directly into people's minds. So, it could come from radio waves, through your TVs. Everybody has these devices. So that's already pretty much set up if they wanted to transmit kind of messages or, I, I, I can see that is quite achievable and not really that far fetched. And then you've got stage four, which is the full blown fake alien invasion. And nothing brings people together like the fear of getting zapped by aliens. Like, there's, this is the idea that they have that's going to scare us into accepting a one world government, because they want to make us believe that we stick together to fight an external threat that's coming from another planet or something that it's not of this earth, so we need to all stick together. We should all join the army and fight against these machines. But it's actually just a ruse to get us all in one line going forward to a one world government. So I would say that stage one, we've gone past the natural disasters recurring repeatedly, right? And then stage two, which is the global light show, stage three, which is the telepathic messages, and then stage four, which is the fake alien invasion. There's no saying that those three things can't happen in tandem. And I think we might see those three stages come into play in 2025. They've just started showing us drones in the sky. They've just started declassifying UFOs, starting to talk about aliens, putting that into people's minds. Aliens are real. Aliens are real, by the way. We've encountered aliens. UFOs are real. All those conspiracy theorists for all those years that we ridiculed and everybody laughed at is all of a sudden coming true. So there's definitely room for all three of those to happen in this year. So you could be partying at Glastonbury this year when the aliens arrive, but you'll have to just tell them, sorry lads, you're interrupting Arctic Monkeys. Been waiting all year for this. I'm in a muddy field. Can you please come back next week? Just give us a week. You've waited millions of years. You can give us one more week, please. Thank you.
Oh, excuse me. And what if the holograms turn into Battle Royale? Jesus versus Buddha versus Krishna. Winner gets the earth. I'd pay good money to see that.
That's a good point, Ash, too. I'd pay to see that as well. And as he just mentioned, it's not just aliens that could take center stage. They're talking religious figures could pop up to fulfill prophecies, Jesus descending from the cloud, Krishna showing up to deliver cosmic sermon, or even a mashup deity that ticks all the boxes. Like, the possibilities are endless with holograms in the sky, as you've seen all over the internet now. There was like a gaming convention. There was a gaming convention this year, or maybe it was last year, 2023 or 2024, where they projected, I think it was like God of War or something, into the sky and onto the cloud, and the quality was so good. Like, a portal opened and this god came out, and it was all to promote a game. Damn, I can't remember where I saw that, but if you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments. But yeah, the possibilities are endless. How are they going to do that on a global scale? I think probably going to be these drone things that are going to do it. I'm not sure. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited just to see if they do pull it off. Like, how good is the technology? Can I then buy like the next gen projector after they finished with all the light show and all the rest of it, so I can just just sit in my garden, shine my projector at the sky, and watch a film in the clouds? That'd be sick. Like, you have to see a silver line in these things. These things are happening anyway, so you might as well not be doom and gloom about it. You might as well just get on board. Let's get the projector up. Imagine watching the next Dune film, Dune Messiah, 2026, after the Year of Aliens, projecting that up in the sky on the cloud. That would be so sick. Or, you could project the cover art of Conspiracy in the sky like a beacon, like Batman, to awaken people, to get them to think for once. But yeah, that's the overall gist of the theory, right? It can be tailored to fit almost any belief system, and it's going to be like the ultimate crowd pleaser, or the ultimate crowd scarer, if you will, because it's going to absolutely terrify people, because it's going to be on the news, and then the news is going to be like, stay in your homes, everybody, This is a worldwide pandemic. This is a worldwide global crisis. Everybody stay indoors and do as you're told. And here's the alien vaccine. And make sure you get 4 doses of that. Yeah, get ready for that shit again. But here's the thing. I wanted just to link the drone activity to Project Bluebeam because this is something that I'm seeing online everywhere. It does seem to fit the mold. So over December 2024, as you probably have seen, most likely have seen, or have even seen yourselves, right? Either online or you've seen them yourselves. There's actually really bright light outside of my house. I live in the countryside in England, and there's like no light pollution around. It's very, very dark at night time. And to the northeast, no, to the east. Does anyone still do never eat shredded wheat, by the way? I still do that even to this day. Anyway, so to the east of my house, some days, not every day, there is a bright white light that comes from the sky, right? It's like it looks like a star, but it's I'd say twice as big as a star. And this white light appears around 5 p.m. So it's still light outside. It's still blue in the sky, and not all the time, but sometimes. Um, and I can't figure out what this is because there's no other stars in the sky. There's absolutely nothing else up there. It's still sunny, and this white light just randomly appears, and then it stays there the whole night. Like it doesn't go away, and then the next day it won't be there. So I don't know. I try and record it. I try and zoom in and things like that, but I just can't get a good enough video of it, you know, and iPhones and all the rest of them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's like one of those rare times that you wish you had a Samsung times 45 zoom. Anyway, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? But yeah, I just can't figure out what it is. And I've been telling myself, oh, maybe it's a satellite or, you know, it's a reflection of something floating around the Earth. You know, it could be a satellite, could be debris, could be the space station or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to know what that is. So if anyone else sees that bright white light randomly appear in the sky, please let me know what you think that is because it does drive me insane. Anyway, gone on a bit of a tangent there, but we are talking about drones. So drones everywhere, all over the world, not just USA for once, they're everywhere. And it's not just your average, let's test out a delivery drone kind of thing. These things are big, they're fast, they're oddly coordinated, they're never alone, they're always traveling in packs, and they're always kind of over either military bases, power grids, major cities, honestly everywhere. So, you know, for me, my first thought was, what's Jeff Bezos up to this time? Like, that was literally my first thought. Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, he's up to something again, poisoning the crops or whatever. But, you know, what if actually this is the start of Project Bluebeam? Because I'm not entirely convinced that it's aliens. To be honest, I'm not entirely convinced. And maybe that's a good job that they're doing on the propaganda type of things and making us question things less, or they put like skepticism in our minds, and maybe that has been the plan all along to put this skepticism in our minds. But yeah, I'm not entirely convinced by the alien thing. Not yet, anyway. But if they are connected to Project Bluebeam, the drones could actually be laying the groundwork for those holographic sky shows I was talking about. So maybe they're mapping the terrain, testing reactions, setting up equipment, things that stay there. They probably have technology now where things can go in the sky and be cloaked. So there might be things just always in the sky at this point, and they uncloak to test them and then they cloak them again. It's not a wild thing to think that stuff like that happens. The government has amazing technology that we wouldn't even fathom yet. And they just came out like the other day about, and again, I'm going to go on another tangent, but I just feel like it's really important and necessary to talk about. But the other day, CIA released a document on their website that you can literally go and read yourself about astral projection, which, aka in other terms, is teleportation. And they claim that they've been to Mars and that they found tall alien, very, very tall aliens who built pyramids on Mars. They found pyramids on Mars. And that's all highlighted in a document that's on the CIA website that you can just go and read now. Like, it's not well, I see the aliens, so you're definitely up there on Mars. It's not backwater kind of things. It's literally You can go and read that. So I think this is all part of this Project Blue Beam movement of getting us used to aliens, and there has been aliens for millions of years on Mars, and they built pyramids just like the pyramids in Egypt, so maybe they've come back to us, all these type of things. So just to get us in that mind frame to be absolutely shocked and scared when they finally take the action on Project Blue Beam.
But Ash, what about if they're probably just spying on our takeaway orders? Like, maybe you ordered a kebab and you want another one. Let's mark him as high priority.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past the consumer market either. So it could be. They could just be observing from above. Oh, he just ordered, like you said, he just ordered kebab. Let's target him. Let's pass his information over to Meta. Good point. But let's not forget that drones can also be a bit dodgy, right? So is it really a coincidence that they're showing up near sensitive locations, though? So could they be, government tech disguised as civilian gadgets? That would make a lot of sense. If they've got like a mad technology propulsion system that they're testing, and they've just designed it within something that looks like a drone that we're all familiar with. And also, I just wanted to point out that all across every media coverage of this, so the media's finally covering it, which is also suspiciously convenient, but all across, it's now the terminology of drone. Drone everywhere. Drone this, drone. There is no mention of UFO, UAP, none of that, like flying saucer. Like, there's no terminology being used. And I also have another theory on that. That's the kind of like, they're using this drone term because they've put that into our minds for years about drones. They've made drones a commercial thing. Everyone and their dog can have a drone and has a drone and flies it around and is familiar with what a drone is. So when they say there's drones in the sky, you kind of, in your mind, you already picture what that looks like. So if someone says the color red to you, you already in your mind have the color red implanted into your brain. It's like the very fundamentals of school and growing up as a kid, and apple is red and banana is yellow, to make you all see the same thing on a level. So the fact that they're using drone sightings and unidentified drones rather than flying objects is also a bit suspect for me, because it's kind of like, okay, so you are now covering it because you see that there is something there, but you are also controlling the population by managing panic and mass hysteria by using terminology that's familiar with everybody, right? So that's also very, very convenient. And these drones are so persistently seen across night skies everywhere that basically just the new pigeons. Like, what happened to all the pigeons, by the way? Where have all the pigeons go? And has anyone ever seen a baby pigeon? I've never ever in my days seen a baby pigeon. Just saying. They're all spies, they're all Chinese spies. But if you think seriously about the implications of what a drone could actually do in the night sky, so drones could easily be used to project images, beam messages through radio waves, all the rest of it. Let's not be numb to the fact that they have the ability to control you. They've already mentioned 6G, by the way. 6G can be used to input messages into people's brains. Like, that is also a thing that's been tried and tested. You can go and check that out as well. So let's not be numb to the fact that this could be a fact of they're putting drones all over the night sky, all over the world, to simultaneously beam a message down into your brain. That it could even be beam a message into your brain that tells the receptors in your brain that you are seeing or hearing or feeling something. That could also be a thing, right? And again, I'm just throwing shit in the wind, but there are some things that back that up, and you can find them online. It's pretty easy. Just type in 6G mind control, things like that. So then all of a sudden the whole world looks up, and then you see a giant Jesus hologram opening through the clouds, appearing in the sky, blessing people in one city, while being surrounded by alien crafts hovering ominously over another. It's theatrical, manipulative, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant in a terrifying way. It is absolutely brilliant. Like, when you think about this Project Bluebeam and you think about the way that it can really change the world, it is a brilliant technique. It's as brilliant as concocting a global disease. It's brilliant. It takes people into their homes, it puts them on a fear level, distracts them from absolutely anything else that's going on in their lives. Then all of a sudden you're reliant on your government. Well, you become reliant on every government to protect you from this threat because you're going to have mass hysteria. If Jesus does appear in the sky, that's going to be absolutely amazing for those out there who are Christian because they're going to think it's the second coming and they're going to be absolutely bewildered and their Lord and Savior is here. But for someone who doesn't believe in Jesus and believes in something else, it's going to be mad for them. It's going to change their world. It's going to change everything that they know and everything they believe in. So it has huge ramifications, right?
But Ash, who's gonna believe that Jesus is floating in the sky over a city surrounded by aliens? Wouldn't they just think it's a Netflix show?
Yeah, I mean, if you are aware of what Project Bluebeam is, you're going to have some skepticism about it, right? And if it's a hologram of Jesus Christ in the sky without being able to physically touch this thing, then you're kind of still in that same mind frame of it's still an ominous being, which, if you do believe in Jesus Christ, that is something that you cherish very closely to your heart, and that it is an all-seeing, all-powerful God and Lord and Savior, so that there is that element of things too. But then, of course, you're going to have a bunch of the world that doesn't agree with it and doesn't accept it. It's the exact same the other way around. If all of a sudden Krishna appeared in the sky, you'd have Christians around the world saying it's a false god and not to believe it and it's fake. So you're always going to have two sides of the coin. But what side of the coin do you sit on?
Well, I'm not really quite sure, to be honest. I'll probably just, I don't know. I hope they come and take me with them to Mars, 'cause this planet sucks.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go with you. Don't worry. So before I just move on, I just wanted to give you some key locations and patterns to do with these drones, just so you have some kind of something solid to go on. So in the US, you had Colorado and Nebraska, similar to the earlier mass drone sightings that were seen in 2020, actually, during COVID.
Suspicious.
Anyway, dozens of large drones were spotted flying over grids over rural farmland. Witnesses reported seeing drones from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. hovering for extended periods and are still seeing them even to this day. Then you've got New Jersey. New Jersey coastline was rampant with UFOs. They were absolutely everywhere. Swarms of drones flying over the ocean, often in triangular formations. The drones displayed multicolored lights that appeared to pulse or signal in a coded manner. There was even one video, I don't know how real it is, so don't take this as gospel, but they were like firing at each other and zooming across the sky and firing lasers and basically galactic war in the sky. Again, I don't know how accurate that is or whatever, but it made a great video anyway. And the US has commented on it. Obviously, we don't know what's in the sky. It's not military. And then you've got someone else who's going, it's military. And then there's someone else going, it's Iran. And they've got a mothership and they're deploying them off the coast of New Jersey. And so they're basically just putting out more and more confusion just to distract everyone from the fact that there's probably two outcomes. One, they have no idea what it is and they have no response for this. And two, they know exactly what it is and they just can't release that information yet because it's classified. And then outside of the US, you've got Australia. So near Sydney, beachgoers reported drones hovering over the coastline late at night, with some sightings accompanied by strange and buzzing sounds. Nothing's been reported there in Australia, no comments been made. So that I could find anyway. So if you are based in Australia, let us know in the comments what you're seeing. And then you've got the UK. UK, we've had things in Lancashire, we've had Shropshire. They've been flying over all around kind of military bases as well. I'm not sure if anything's been sighted, let's say in London or in Birmingham or big cities like that. So, and again, can't really find anything on mainstream media here in the UK, but definitely things circling around kind of online and forums and independent news channels and all the rest of that. So again, if you're based in the UK or Europe, then absolutely let us know in the comments what you've seen. And also in the Swiss Alps, skiers and tourists noticed drones flying in a synchronized line over mountain ranges. So that kind of raises questions about well, they're using it for surveillance, mapping things, and the drones themselves were described as unusually large, much bigger than the consumer grade model, and capable of flying at high altitudes. But yeah, it's been all over social media. You've probably seen it a million times over. And if you want to check out more of that kind of stuff, you can go to TikTok or go to Instagram. You can do a hashtag mystery drones or a hashtag sky surveillance. They're both trending worldwide, probably on X as well. And whilst you're on Instagram or TikTok, just give us a follow. It's at Conspiracy. It's just the podcast name, at Conspiracy. So love to see you over there and engage with the posts and comments, and we can have a chat and or just drop me a message what your thoughts about these drones are as well. That would be really great. I'd love to hear from you guys. But let's zoom out a bit and think about how something like Project Bluebeam could actually reshape the world. Let's put it in practical terms. So, say this actually happens, a coordinated global event that either unites or terrifies humanity. What changes? What will change for me, you, and everyone else? So, first off, I'd say the political landscape would be unrecognizable. A one world government suddenly doesn't seem like a dystopian fantasy anymore. It's right here on the doorstep. And if you think about it, if you are faced with what looks like an existential threat, whether it's aliens, a new deity, or both, you're probably not going to want to argue over national borders, who's in charge. It will literally be survival first, questions later. And then you've got to think about the economy. So economically, it would be chaos. Markets would crash and then rebuild around whatever new order emerges. So it has giant ramifications for this earth if this project is real, and that's what they're putting into play. So if you can imagine corporations pivoting to sell alien tech inspired gadgets or pilgrimages to holographic holy sites, just start to think outside the box a little bit, like all of a sudden you're going to go from having an iPhone to alien gadgets that they've probably had for 50 years and they're just waiting to unleash and just getting us ready and our minds ready for this type of stuff. And then you've even got like the currency could change, a unified global credit system, maybe like what happens in China. They have a social credit system in China where you are rewarded or penalized based on your behavior. So things like you could go to the shop and have an argument with the shop attendant, and they could mark you down as you've been rude or you've acted in a certain way, or if you're disorderly in the streets or at a train station, for example, then your social credit score could be penalized and that could go down. And what that does is that restricts people in China from using public transport, from buying food, coffee, all the rest of it. Like, it really affects the way they live. So they have to be on their best behavior, be polite and everything, because this social credit system removes currency from them based on the way that they act, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, if I'm wrong about that, if I've got any listeners in China and I am wrong about that, drop me a comment. I'm absolutely open to hearing more about that. That's just what we're told over here. So yeah, global currency could change. So that is literally like, it's going to move us into like cyberpunk. We're living in this dystopian future and we have a one world credit system, one world government, one world currency. It's terrifying. And honestly, life has been feeling pretty cyberpunk lately, hasn't it?
Cyberpunk? No way. I'd say it's more like Top Saver Terminator.
Yeah, times are tough these days, aren't they? But it could all change, and socially it would be pretty wild too, right? So you'll have the people who might abandon all religions, or you've got the ones that will double down on them, and that will be dependent completely on how convincing the holograms are or what is shown. Cults would spring up again overnight, so we go back to what we had in the 70s, don't drink the Kool-Aid, all the rest of it. So, and then you'd have all the skeptics out there yelling it's a hoax, and then you have the conspiracy theorists out there saying this is just Project Blue, and then you've got people building shrines in the gardens. It is going to completely change the landscape of life as we know it, if this is the thing. And then to throw in a curveball, right? What if Project Bluebeam is just Project Bluebeam Volume 1. And then there's a Project Bluebeam Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. One comes out every September like an iPhone. But what if it actually becomes a tool for ongoing control? Anytime there's unrest, boom, another miraculous sighting or alien threat to keep people in line. Every time people are feeling a bit discouraged or down, don't want to go to work, don't see the point in life, hey, here's a new thing that we're going to show you, and it's a bit more uplifting. It gives people hope, gets them back in the work, gets them back in the mines, all the rest of it. So it would be the ultimate Big Brother move.
Big Brother, but with lasers and flying saucers? I'd watch that.
Me too, mate. Me too. But let's be fair, as we always are on conspiracy, and let's look at the other side of the coin. So let's talk about what other people have to say about Project Bluebeam. So, firstly, there is an argument. Of course, there's always an argument where there's no solid proof. No leaked files, no credible insiders, nada. Nothing. Just Sergey's word, and it's Sergey's word from the 90s. How could it possibly be still a thing 30, 35 years later? Right. To be fair to this, technology and life in general does move pretty fast, and it moves even faster now than it's ever done. So maybe that thing in the 90s that he came up with shouldn't be applied to 2025 because we're in a new world now. We have new things. Maybe that came out before we even had mobile phones. And now we have mobile phones with computers, drones, all the rest of it. So maybe that Project Bluebeam shouldn't translate to 2025. Just saying. I mean, it's a pretty old theory in terms of the progress of the world and how fast we move. So maybe it's time to let that die and say, okay, maybe it's not Project Bluebeam. Maybe this is legit. There is drones in the sky. Maybe it's government. Maybe it's aliens, and we just, we accept that and move on. That could also be an option for many people to, get through their days. It's not an option I would like to take personally because I just find that pretty dull and boring. So, and then you've got the tech angle, right? So there are some people out there that will tell you that we just physically don't have those capabilities yet to create holograms that are so convincing that they fool billions and billions of people. And then you've got telepathic messages. They'd say that that's more kind of like a Doctor Who thing than reality. And if you don't go into this type of research and you don't go down the rabbit hole on this, you don't find a lot of stuff that is actually out there and is being worked on and that people have blown the whistle on all the rest of it. So I can see why people would be skeptical about the technology that we do have. Mind control, that's unfathomable to the human mind at the moment because we're not seeing that on a day-to-day basis. We're not seeing it openly on a day-to-day basis, let's say. But what I can say just to counter that counter is, are we not seeing that on a day-to-day basis? Mind control, like doom scrolling, Instagram, TikTok, just constantly going up, 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 like feeding information into your eyes. VR headsets that go into your head now, and you're in another world, and it's just beaming into your brain. Is that not a bit of brainwashing already that's happening? Maybe you say no, it's not, and it's a form of entertainment, form of dopamine, and that's just what we need as humans. We just want to scroll, and nothing's being beamed into us from our phones, and there's no radiation from it, no nothing. You're just digesting information and that's just it. Or maybe you're like, well, maybe not everybody is on their phones all the time, so it is what it is. So there's definitely an aspect of the tech angle that we're not seeing yet, especially when you're trying to maybe stream a movie and it's buffering, and you'd think, why is my film buffering every 25 seconds when we've got holograms that can show Jesus in the sky? So I can see that there's some skepticism to that too. And then on the tech aspect of things, you've got drones where people are like, okay, we do have drones. We know what drones are. I can go to the shop and buy a drone, right? But what if it's just a drone? It's just, so you got the skepticism that it's just a drone. So it's actually pretty boring. It's foreign surveillance, private operators, or just a bunch of kids with too much pocket money. It's a bunch of rich kids flying some drones around trying to cause a stir, or even the government trying to cause a stir just to generate some buzz, keep you distracted kind of thing. So, but skeptics wouldn't argue that they're trying to keep you distracted, actually. They would say something like, they're just testing out new delivery drones, or it's nothing to worry about. Just push it down. Don't worry about it. Stop being such a conspiracy theorist, right? So you've also got people out there that would say things like that. So that is a good counter, because it could be. It could just be new delivery drones. It could be new technology from the government that they just can't tell you about because it's classified. I mean, there's a bunch of wars going on in the world, so it's not mad to think that they are developing weapons that could help win a war if it broke out properly, which I think we're kind of almost there, but if not already there. But even down to the fact that it could just be a simple case of a coordinated effort from a group of people worldwide that have all come together. They're on kind of some dark web channel, forum, group together that they've just all agreed, okay, let's put some drones in the sky all over the world and just send it into a bit of a frenzy. That could also happen. I mean, it would be interesting. Wouldn't be as interesting as aliens.
Yeah, but Ash, the only drone I would trust is one that's delivering my Friday night curry.
Sure, Ash, too. Thanks for that input. But then you've also got some skeptics who also point out that humanity isn't as gullible as we used to be. And it's not back in the 50s, 60s, 70s where you could pull off a fake moon landing and all the rest of it and people would just still lose their minds and go wild. We're in the age of smartphones, social media, so pulling off a global hoax would seem like it is near on impossible at this point. Like someone would sniff it out, someone would be recording some things. However, again, to counter that counter, if we do have all of this surveillance and social media and smartphones and why can nobody tell us where these drones are coming from? So there's also that aspect of it's a need to know basis, but it would be interesting. It would be quite funny to see online on Instagram some random person somewhere just catching a glitch in the hoax in the Matrix. The hologram of Jesus flickers, and they catch a little speck that goes wrong, or one drone fails, and just one person in the middle of Haiti is just filming and catches it and trying to spread it, and everyone's like, "Oh, shut up!" He's just like, "No, honestly, I swear down, it's all fake. A hologram was flickering during the storm. I saw it. I promise." But yeah, I think to pull this off, it's gonna have to be, or have to have been, a very coordinated effort, and as something that I would have taken many, many years to plan, perfect, to get it right. And that's why I think that this Project Bluebeam is pretty good explanation as to what this is, because yes, okay, Sergey said that back in the 90s, right? But it would take time planning. That's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to take years and years. So maybe it has taken 35 years. Maybe it's at the point where we needed a technology to be at a certain point, and now we're at that point. They can finally show us what they have planned. And just because we don't have the hard evidence doesn't mean it's not possible, right? So governments, as we all know, hide stuff all the time. They do it for your protection, as they say, or they do it to stop mass hysteria. They do it to protect their own assets, to protect their countries, to protect their military, all the rest of it. So what we have to take into account is the technology that we are being shown right now. There is probably technology 50 years advanced from that. So what we're seeing right now is things like deep fake AI, AI that can mimic voices, AI that can create videos. Then you've got humanoids, robots, all the rest of it. So the idea of a hologram doesn't actually seem so far fetched anymore. Like the projector you can get in your home. I have a Nebula projector, right? And it's unreal. The quality is so good on my Nebula projector, and that's something I bought just for my home. So if you can imagine, take that projector times that by 50 years, what you could possibly have, and that's probably what the government has. And when you actually look at humanity these days, end of 2024, start of 2025, it seems pretty divided, right? All across the world, we seem very much divided. You've got left wing, you've got right wing, you've got this country attacking that country, this religion attacking that religion, all over the world, and it's completely absurd and completely ridiculous. And what better way to get that under control than a global event, like an alien invasion or a sudden universal religion to bring everyone together. But yeah, that sounds good, right? The word let's bring everyone together. But what I mean by the word together is being under one ruling body. So the idea of, oh yeah, we're together, we all live in peace and harmony, but then you've got the idea that you're being ruled by one body, one corporation, one government. That also is terrifying because then you are living in a world where you are openly restricted, restrained, quarantined, forced. You know, we already kind of have that kind of stuff anyway with the governments we do have at the moment, but it will just be more overtly obvious. So the drones could be playing a very, very important part in all of this. So whether they're prepping us for a holographic light show or just testing the waters, they're definitely not random. Something's up, and my money. If you could bet on conspiracy, that's a great idea. Damn. If you could bet on conspiracy theories, I think I've just unlocked a business idea, guys. Nobody steal that. I've trademarked it before the episodes come out. A betting site for conspiracies to come true. Oh my god. I've had an epiphany. Anyway, yeah. I would put my money on Project Bluebeam. 100% Project Bluebeam. 10 grand on it right now. Odds probably 50 to 1 because it's a conspiracy, but I would be walking away with 50 grand. Alright, conspiracy fans, what's your take on Project Bluebeam? Is it a conspiracy to end all conspiracies? Is it genius, or is it just plain bonkers? One thing's clear, 2025 is going to be a wild year.
And I'm actually quite looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, honestly, me too. I'm really, really intrigued, and I can't wait to see how this pans out. But let me know your thoughts. Hit me up on Instagram at Conspiracy. That's just at Conspiracy, just the podcast name. Or you can email me, conspiracy@gmail.com. And who knows, your theory might inspire a future episode.
Conspiracy. Conspiracy.
That's it for today's episode of Conspiracy, where weird is the new normal. Join us next week for a brand new conspiracy theory. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. I release episodes here every Wednesday, so you don't want to miss it. And remember, the truth is out there.